access to export credit and to financial instruments enabling to industrialise and commercialise the fruits of innovation. Introduction. Firms become more competitive once they start exporting. Exports of goods produce benefits to enterprises such as reduced share of companies' overhead costs, extended product life cycle, expansion and diversification of outlet markets. Exports also imply costs such as foreign market analysis, adjusting products to standards and regulations of the target market and consumer requirements, establishing and developing foreign distribution networks. International transactions represent higher commercial and non-commercial risks. Transporting goods at long distances delays the moment when payment is received. That is why export credits and financial instruments play a vital role in supporting export and import transactions. Trade credit. Trade credit is an agreement between the parties to the contract that consists in the short-term deferral of payment for delivered goods. Trade credit is usually granted for 30, 60 or 90 days. It can be granted on an open account basis, more beneficial to the importer. In the case of a cash-in-advance basis, importer makes an advance payment to the exporter, which reduces the risk of non-payment. Granting trade credit is linked with lower fees, e.g. no bank charges and commissions, but higher cost of credit, which will be included in the price of goods. More flexibility compared to bank products. Trade finance. Trade finance consists in support offered by banks to enterprises, financial and insurance institutions and governments through financial and insurance instruments, which facilitate international trade. Trade finance is a system of two mutually dependent pillars. The first one includes instruments that are sources of working capital to exporters or importers. The second one includes insurance and guarantee instruments that reduce the risk of non-payment. Financial instruments offered by banks and other financial institutions. Exporters often lack financial resources that would allow to finance medium and long-term trade credit. Resources can be obtained by factoring, forfeiting, bank loans, financing export production, transaction settlement period. In order to develop exports and support competitiveness of national exporters who implement innovative solutions, inter alia, in textile and clothing sector, national governments use the following financial instruments: grant refinance export credits, subsidise cost of export credits, i.e. interest make-up mechanism. Export credit. Export credits can be divided into short-term and medium and long-term ones. They are granted by banks or financial institutions. Within the framework of the official system of export support, terms and conditions of export credits have been specified in the Gentleman's Agreement. The main purpose of the arrangement is to provide a framework for the orderly use of officially supported export credits. Insurance and guarantee instruments. An export credit guarantee, extended on order of entrepreneurs for the benefit of banks, creditors who finance export contracts. Guarantees cover bank risk implied by short-term export credits, up to 2 years, granted to exporters to cover expenditure connected with the execution of export credits. An export credit insurance. For trade credit insurance, it is a form of protection to the exporter against non-payment from the importer. Short-term credits, which cover commercial risk, can be insured in private insurance companies. Medium and long-term credits can be insured against commercial and political risks in specialised export credit insurance agencies with the involvement of government budget. Export credit agencies, ECAs. ECA is a private or quasi-governmental institution. ECAs provide support to exporters in the form of officially supported export credits to help mitigate the commercial and/or political risks of non-payment by an overseas buyer. The financing can take the form of credits, financial support, or credit insurance and guarantees, pure cover, or both, depending on the mandate the ECA has been given by its government. Conclusion. Activities of banks or financial and guarantee institutions with respect to export credits and other financial instruments they offer to enable industrial companies to conquer new markets or to achieve competitive advantage are similar in individual countries, although the scope and terms of the insurance differ. The list of agencies for countries can be found on the website. In order to ensure a level playing field, OECD members apply rules laid down in a gentleman's agreement. They specify minimum rates of interest, risk fees and maximum repayment terms.